All right.
All right, we are live.
Okay.
And so far, everything seems to be going.
Good. Okay. 1 minute, we'll start. Bridget, yeah.
$6.
6. The February pre-board meeting is called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Supervisor Conway?
Present.
Counselor Tierney? Present. Counselor Kennedy? Present. Counselor Matters?
Present.
Counselor Fritz?
I think Bridget will be with us momentarily.
Yep, I'll look out for her.
All right, this is what we're going to do. We have a presentation from Green Renewables, and I think we'll start there rather than do opening comments by the counselors. Steve, I don't know if you want to take the lead or Don. Somebody, whoever wants to take the lead, step right up and let's hear what you got to say.
This is Steve. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. So with us tonight should be Don Z. I think he said he was on. Lisa Gallivan and Sean Gallivan were the owners, and Jeff Mantell, all from Green Renewable. So we had passed out, I think, a video probably a couple weeks ago, so I'm hoping the town board members were able to take a look at that. We did share that with the planning board as well. Megan, do you happen to have, are you able to put up that one aerial map perhaps? We basically have an aerial map, and Megan's pulling that up. So the parcel that you see in that red outline is about a 65-acre parcel of land. It's situated down in the port of Rensselaer and probably a couple miles down to the port. So when you turn, let's say, left off of 9J into the port, you're going to travel through the city of Rensselaer, and a couple miles later on your left-hand side, you're going to end up on this site that you see there on the left-hand side. We've tried labeling a fair amount of the adjoining owners. Directly across the street from us is a national gypsum site. And then coming into the site, as you're all probably well aware, you've got a lot of fuel storage and fuel tank companies pulling into that site. So, you know, the operation that we feel we're proposing here is, I would say, is a lot less impactful and perhaps more aesthetic than what we have existing there. But anyhow, that parcel you see is about a 65-acre parcel of land. What Green Renewable does is take in a lot of raw products such as trees and branches and stumps and compost and sand and stone. And they take that and they process that all in and send it out in bagged mulch products, or bagged products, I should say, on pallets. So what you see there on that map, and it may look like we have a lot of solar arrays there, but in essence, what they are is all pallet rows. So it's a lot of storage of pallets that after the product is processed in the building that we're showing on that site, all these bagged products get put on pallets and they get shipped out. Let's say, again, some of your larger retail. So when you guys go out in May and June and July and you're trying to do all your yard work, you're going to end up at, let's say it could be Home Depot or Lowe's or whomever, and you're buying a 50-pound bag of mulch, and a very good chance it's going to be manufactured and processed right here on this site. So at the end of the day, that's what's done, and that's what you see stored there on the site. The building that we're showing there is about a 50,000 square foot building. In that video, if you were able to take a look at it, everything being done within that building is what we're proposing there. So it's about a 50,000 square foot building. To the right side of that building, which would be to the north, we're showing the process area. In the process area is where the raw product comes in. Again, it may be tree branches, it may be stumps, it may be topsoil, compost, things of that nature. So it would get processed into that area, loaded into the building, and within that building is that mechanical operations that you saw, and then on the other end of the building, it spits out all the palletized product there that then gets stored on this site. So in essence, not really a complicated process or not a heavy lift as to what we're trying to do down here. We have had conversations with the planning board, just so the town board members are aware. This site has some archaeological sensitivity. It has wetland sensitivity. It's got floodplain issues and things of that nature. All technical issues that we're working through. We are awaiting, I should say, a call from SHPO, who has setting up a conference call with DEC, the Army Corps of Engineers, and also one of the that has a heavy presence down here. So we're hoping that call and that meeting takes place over the next week or two. The site that's here, we're a ways away from water, public water and public sewer, which would actually be coming through the city of Rensselaer. So the intention is just to feed that building with a private well and a private septic field for the 50 employees. To give you an idea on sewage flow, you're probably equivalent to about maybe a 6-bedroom home. So we're not saying it's a large producer. Even though it sounds like a big building, it's a lot of open space in there. So in essence, it's the employees that are generating the sewage that we need to take care of and the water that we need to keep in. So certainly the board members, or I see Sean and Don, I'm assuming Lisa and Jeff are on as well. I mean, if our team has anything more to offer up to the board, feel free to chime in at this point, or if any of the board members have questions, we're happy to address as many of them as we can.
Sure.
Does anyone?
Are you on the east side?
Don,
Steve, are you? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, this is Don Z. I just wanted to point out that Sean has another facility currently in Berlin where he has 25 employees. He is going to maintain that facility, but bring over 8 employees from that site. And he anticipates with the full build out of this facility to add a total of additional 25 in addition to the 8 being transferred over from the Berlin site. What Sean's company is doing is trying to they have currently another facility out by Hobart College area, and that area services territory from just Buffalo line down to around Syracuse, Utica. And what we believe is this facility will then pick up the difference from the Syracuse, Utica line going east into Massachusetts and going south down to Westchester County. By moving his facility, the majority of the facility from Berlin to here, he saves approximately 72 miles for his vehicles at $2.88 a mile because of its proximity to I-90 and 787 as well as to 87. It's an advantageous location for him. I've said this is a job creator for the community, and with today's climate being, as his name is in the company, Green Renewable, we are taking wood materials and recycling it for a positive use. I can answer any questions.
Yeah, on the on zoning and the regulatory approvals part of this whole thing, I'm trying to before I ask that, I'm just trying to orient myself. Where's Riverside Avenue, Steve, in conjunction with the what's highlighted in red? Can you just point to it?
Yeah, Rick, Yeah, I don't know if you guys are seeing my mouse, but Riverside Avenue would be to the right side of that page. On top of this map, Rick, is the Hudson River. So if you can see that shade, and I know it's a gray shade, not a blue shade, but the Hudson River is on top of the page. So
Sure, we saw that, yeah.
2 miles to the right, which is closer to Albany, let's say.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So Riverside Ave is where then?
It would be way to the right onto this map.
Okay.
We're looking at Hudson River on top, you'd be going to the right. So traversing into this site, Rick, you'd be coming, let's say, a couple miles in. This site would be on your left-hand side.
Okay.
You travel, like I said, a couple miles in, you'd bend to right, you'd bend to left, and then this is a long straightaway leading into this site. You guys, just so you know, you recently approved a site for what's labeled there, right in the center of the page now, Sun Oil Road. I believe that was Lauren Bro that had come in there. He would be our exact neighbor to the north of us. So right there, you see Sun Oil Road at Asphalt Badge Point. So if you're familiar with that location, we're directly to the south.
Yep. No, I'm real familiar with this because there's a dredge disposal site that's in proximity to this. But I'm looking at my cell phone tonight, so I'm not my visual acuity is a little off. As far as the proposed use, is this compatible with the is this a coastal industrial zone? Is that what this is?
That is correct.
Is this use consistent with the uses outlined in that zoning district?
Our understanding is that it is under the recycling and reuse category, and we are understanding we're waiting for some feedback from code enforcement, which would be Kevin Hitchcock, to clarify that. I think there were some call outs within that zone, Rick, that talked about being enclosed in a fully enclosed facility, whereas we do a bit of work in that process area outside of the building, but all the bagging and the production, let's say, is done within the building. So I think we're looking to get some feedback on that.
Great. And my last question, as far as seeker, have you done an environmental assessment on it yet? Excuse me, the preliminaries on that yet, or no?
All being undertaken right now, Rick. We knew how critical the wetlands and the archaeology and traffic and things of that nature were going to be. So we've got everything initiated, but we don't have feedback on any of those items yet.
Sure.
Councilman Mathers, in fact, that's in part the purpose of tonight's meeting, and what we're seeking from the board tonight is that the planning board believes that the town board should be lead agency under seeker, and that with the adoption of the lead agency status, because we have other agencies involved, such as DEC, Army Corps, DOT, and Rensselaer County, as well as SHPO and New York State Department of State, because of proximity to the Hudson River, where you would, if you would take lead agency status, the next step would be to circulate our project layout, as well as our long form EAF, which was prepared by Steve and submitted along with the application. So when you talk about seeker, we're right at the beginning of that process. But as Steve said, we've already had our wetland biologists out there. We've already done our preliminary archaeological studies, and we've already contacted a traffic consultant, and we are working to put all that together. But this is the first step in that process of, review.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
My question is, Steve, can you address the truck traffic that'll be down here?
Yeah, so we basically have a number of employees that would be coming in, and I may have Don, if you don't mind. I think Don has a better understanding on the numbers, because we've had some back and forth amongst the project team with the trucks that would be coming in. There's trucks, Jack, that would be coming in with raw processed material, and then there's trucks that would be going out that would be palletized and carrying out those pallets of bagged product there. Don, do you recall the final numbers? I know we worked on them with Jeff.
Yep. Yeah, I do know those numbers. There should be a total of 20 trucks coming in a day and 20 trucks leaving a day. Of the 20 trucks that are coming in each day, 10 of them would be with raw product, meaning tractor trailers or loads of raw materials, logs, wood materials. And those trucks, when they're empty, when they drop off their raw materials, leave empty. That's 10 truckloads a day. Based on Sean's recipe of making the end product, for every truckload of raw material that comes in, we will then have a truckload for a finished product with the pallets of finished materials going out. So if we have 10 trucks coming in each day of raw materials, we would have 10 trucks leaving of finished material as well. But the trucks coming in that are going to be shipping out or delivering the finished product, they will arrive at the site empty. Just like the trucks that are bringing in the raw materials, they will be empty. So we will have 20 trips in that are filled with, have containers that are filled up with weighted materials, and 20 that are empty. So there's a total of 40 truck trips that's anticipated here.
That's Don, that includes both directions, 20 in and 20 out?
That is correct.
Not 40 in and 40 out.
That is correct.
Okay. Because American Oil Road is a fragile road.
Yep, we understand that. We understand that. At the same time, with regard to, I'm just missing my, we wanted to point out that the truck trips leaving with the materials that is being delivered to these, what we call big boxes, such as like a Home Depot, Lowe's and everything, our shipping hours that they would be pretty much leaving around 6 o'clock in the morning. So we would not be competing with the peak traffic on the state highways, nor in the city of Rensselaer, which is predominantly direction the vehicles would be traveling on.
Yeah. Okay. And just one more question. In the video, there's no people. So where are the employees and what do they do?
Jeff, do you want to take that question? Jeff works for the company.
Jeff, can you hear us?
Sorry, it took me. Yep.
You were muted.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Well, that obviously the video, we wanted to get good visibility other than employees, but as you can see when the loader was loading the hopper with material, that's one employee for each shift. And then you have a person at the front of the bag line that was actually taking the video at that time because it has to be monitored, but they aren't stationary. And then you have another person at the end of the line, which you couldn't see there, it was on the other side of the wrapper, that's monitoring that part of the line. Then you have another employee, which is using a forklift to unload the line and take it out to the yard. So for each shift, you have, just for each bag line, you have 4 people. So you times that by the number of shifts that you have, and that's where you come up with the internal people along with supervision. And then of course you have the people that are manufacturing the product outside and bringing that in, the finished material to enter the bag line.
Okay. All right.
So, Supervisor, if I may just add to that, we anticipate having at least 2 lines, production lines. So when he says 4 people per shift on the production line, we anticipate having 2 production lines. So that'd be 8 per shift there. With regard to the materials, and Sean, you can talk about the materials. It isn't just one colored product. We have, we take the raw product, and what we do is screen it to make sure that we can get the smaller pieces first before we have some sort of process to break down the pieces to 2 or 3 inches in size. So there's some backhoes and wheel loaders that are loading that into a screening process and then extracting it from the screening process. We also do coloring of the materials. And Sean, if you could talk about that and how that's done, as Sean is the owner of the company.
You're muted, Sean.
Sean, you have to unmute yourself.
How's that?
Good.
Okay.
How you doing, Sean?
Very good.
So let me ask this though: is there an office there, or is there, in addition to the facility, is there an office? People working in the office?
There will be clerical, and there also will be a scale house. There'll be a modular scale house at the point of the scale, but there will be offices there that'll handle all the admin, working. You had some questions about the materials as well before I was muted.
Yes.
Yep. So Don did describe the process pretty good. So we work with town municipality residuals from the leaf and limb pickups. We work with sawmill waste, which are wood chips and bark that come off the trees. We work with the tree companies that are producing wood chips and log ends. Most of that material is screened, so we're able to segregate the particle sizes, utilize the particle sizes that are we're able to make product with. Soon after, we do have a coloring process. All the coloring happens within chambers of the equipment, so it happens in encapsulated pieces of equipment. So it's self-contained. We use all biodegradable, earth-friendly colorants to tint and do color enhancement of the wood chips. And the bulk materials are then sent into the hoppers, and later, as Jeff described, go through the packaging process. We currently make about 85 different SKUs, 85 different products. Just in the organics, we're making potting soils, we're making specialty growing medias, we're making different colored mulches, we're making many variations of different mulch products and erosion control coverings, playground chips that are made to a certain spec. When it comes to the soil products as well, we make various different growing products, for the earth-friendly, organic growing sector.
Thank you. First off, hi, Bridget.
Marijuana sector.
I do.
Okay. Does Holly, you have a question?
I have one question. I was wondering if there was any plan in the future to bring in additional raw materials from the riverside, or is it all going to be coming in from the land, from the roadways?
Right. So currently, my industry is a locally sourced. That's right. Kind of what we do. So we work within the 10 municipalities around us. We do package stone too, and there again, the stone products come from various specialty quarries, and they come in by truck. Marble chips, different stones from slate quarries and things like that. So they're only accessible by trucks.
Got it. Thank you.
Anyone else have questions?
Any on-site storage contemplated? Post I'll call it post-production, such as it is on-site storage.
For the palletized goods, once we're done making the product, is that what you're?
Well, yeah. I mean, in terms of post-production, and then you'd have shipping schedules, presumably.
Sure.
But in terms of interim storage, is it presumed that you'd have some on-site storage?
Absolutely. It's all labeled right there on that plan. You'll see a bunch of rows that are put together. And what we do is we try to make such as a shopping a grocery market. Our aisles are all labeled. So from a shipping point of view, all those rows that you see are labeled with different products. So we have an order come in, we can send a truck down those aisles and load out each individual product, pretty scientifically.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I was just curious. I mean, this is so organic in nature, so I presume that, when you go through your environmental assessment, that my guess is it's not going to be, an issue, if any issue at all. But I was just kind of curious. No, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, and for the board, what we're doing tonight is we have a resolution that for Sean and his crew. Tonight's the pre-board meeting, so what we do is we just review the agenda items. Next Wednesday is the business meeting at which we would vote on this. But the resolution that concerns Green Renewable is to request lead agency status and initiate a coordinated review. Not that this isn't true of a lot of people, but these guys are in a bit of a hurry. So that's why I wanted to get them before this board as soon as possible. Get your first look at this project, start to get oriented. If you haven't watched the video is worth watching. I had a whole different concept in my head, so the video was very helpful. But guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Steve, Don, Sean, Jeff, thank you guys for coming in. And from here on out, Adam Yagelski will be your point person, and you'll deal with him. All right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. And Bridget, it's good to see you.
I was on the phone for at least part of that.
I could see it. I could see that. Oh, Ellen, you have Bridget Mark present now?
I expect you're present, Bridget.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go to the agenda and look at the resolutions. It's interesting set of resolutions. They're not. I don't think there's very many controversial things here. I think there's a lot of organizing of work and kind of pointing towards the future. But we have two sets of meeting minutes that we start with. Then we have a resolution designating March as Women's History Month, which is a good thing. And then we have a resolution proclaiming the town as a Purple Heart town. I dare anybody to argue with that. So those two resolutions are great. Then the next two are the Best Luther Fire Department for the furnishing of fire protection first in the Best Luther Fire Protection District, and secondly in the 3rd Avenue Fire Protection District. And tonight we'll have the public hearing at 6:40. I know at least somebody's here from Best Luther. But even if they weren't, we all know the story on this. These guys do a great job. They have the largest coverage area of any of the fire companies. There has been a double-digit increase in the furnishing of protection for the Best Luther Fire Protection District, but the contract has been static for a long number of years, and on the magnitude we're dealing with, I think it's a $12,000 increase in the contract from last year. We'll do those two. The next one is just getting Mike Martin re-enrolled in the New York State Parks and Recreation Society. So we've always done this, and it's just doing that again. The next one is the kind of the first meaty or substantive one. It's acknowledging receipt of the annual audit and examination of records of our town court. In your package, you have the actual audit that George Phillips does every year. When we first got here, me and Tina, in 2016, the OSC was doing an audit of the court office, and so we've had that audit. We got through that, and then every year afterwards, our audit committee, which consists of our controller, George Phillips, does an audit, and he is, you know, you can read it, but he basically finds everything in order. So we have to acknowledge that we've reviewed it and accept it. Then the next one is, and you know, a resolution authoring the purchase of 2 Mossberg 12-gauge shotguns with orange stocks and forearms, slings, 600 less lethal munition rounds, and accessories. So, Assistant Chief Reichert, what's an orange stock?
Exactly what it says it is. It's an orange stock and forearm. The weapons that are designated for less lethal purposes, we like to make them sort of stand out. If you've ever seen any of the officers in other agencies, they might have like a bright yellow or bright orange stock and forearm on them, almost like the orange our DPW guys wear. Is to help delineate that from a lethal firearm versus one that's designed solely to operate and deliver the less lethal munitions, like what we call a super sock round, or what was used to be known as a beanbag round. It's so that nobody can make the mistake and grab the wrong item, thinking it's a less lethal option when they're actually grabbing a shotgun with lethal rounds in it. It just helps identify it greater. The whole, the entire gun is basically orange, with the exception of the barrel and the receiver group. So there's no mistaking what you're grabbing and utilizing.
Okay, and we do have the guns that are lethal as well.
Yeah, after researching this, I recently found out that the department doesn't have shotguns anymore at all. They carry all patrol rifles. So these would be the only 2 shotguns we have anyway. So there would be no mistake in grabbing a different one. We don't have any others to grab. Delineating that, it also helps identify to other officers out on the street that is a less lethal option and not a lethal option, so to speak, so that it'll help identify to the other agencies what's being deployed as well.
Yeah, I'm glad I asked the question, because that makes a lot of sense. It really does. It's almost as if you guys know what you're doing.
Don't tell anybody.
So a less lethal round, John, would be what? Basically.
Yeah, similar to what the nice thing about these shotguns versus some of the other delivery platforms is you can deliver a multitude of different rounds in the less lethal realm. It would be an impact round, something that might create pain and bruising, but obviously not penetrate the body. Again, I would say like a beanbag round, it used to be referred to, or some rubber impact rounds could also be deployed through that.
Gotcha.
Rounds that would rupture on impact and deliver like OC or pepper spray. It might deliver a splatter of pepper spray. And again, the nice thing about this is it's a very accurate delivery system, not something that would sort of saturate an area with. It would be designed for one purpose or for a sole subject, and also create some standoff distance, where somebody might be carrying something that, a baseball bat or a knife or something like that. And if you're 30, 40 feet away, doesn't pose an immediate threat, and you can utilize this option to neutralize it before it gets to that deadly encounter.
Sure.
And also, tasers that we carry only have a certain distance on them, also anywhere from 0 to I think our longest taser cord is 25 feet. And as they deploy, they separate greater and greater, and creates less accuracy as they go. So this is it's a good delivery system, and a very accurate one, and one that the guys the men and women are already familiar with, and it can provide a lot of options as opposed to just one projectile, so to speak.
Great. No, thank you.
The next resolution is a really important one. It's to purchase a supply of target ammunition for the year 2022, and I'll have John explain why we're doing this and what the context is.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much the board is aware of what's going on with the ammo crisis at the moment. Particularly, large orders are very difficult to come by. we're still waiting for our 2020 ammunition order. If that tells you anything, we ordered our 2021 ammunition order early, and are currently the last update I got on that order was it was 60 to 90 days before it was going to be delivered, and then when I checked after the 60 days, it went up from 90 to 120 days. The time frame keeps changing because demand is out there. With the pandemic going on, there aren't as many employees in the manufacturing companies, and they're dealing with the same issues every other company is dealing with right now. So they're slow to deliver, slow to manufacture, and I'm being told that this issue could extend into 2023. So we're trying to get on this as soon as possible to at least get our 2022 order and for the training ammo only. This does not include the duty ammo. This is a different manufacturer than our duty ammo, which is a different round that we carry out on the street. So at least we can get the qualifications and we can keep the guys up to date on their training and their time on the range and all that business, and keep our SSRT guys have enough for them to utilize also throughout the year for training. And as much as I know it's odd to have to think that far ahead, unfortunately, this is what we're going to have to do. And it wasn't that long ago we were doing the same thing, probably 5 or 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe a little longer. A lot of manufacturers didn't join up in the state bid in quote unquote protest to some political action that happened in the state here, and it created a huge issue for the New York agencies again, and we were set back several years in our ammunition orders because of that.
Okay, so yeah, I mean it's an unusual step, as John said, but we've talked it through. You have an invoice in your package that shows you the basis of this cost, and we don't see any way around it. We have to do this. So that I'm not telling you how to vote. I'm just telling you we have to do this.
Sure.
The next resolution is authorizing a professional service agreement for legal services with Bill Ryan to consolidate the sewer districts. Dave has reviewed the agreement that we were sent. You have it in your package. And if I could jump ahead too, the resolution 48 does the same thing with Delaware Engineering. Mary Beth Bianconi will be doing the rate restructuring and calculating the tax rates and all that. In terms of purchasing, we're looking at both of these as a professional services contract that doesn't have to go out to bid. In Bill Ryan's case, Bill and his firm were named in the organizational meeting agenda as our official attorneys for water and sewer districts. So this team got our water districts consolidated, and the goal now is to get the sewer districts consolidated. We want to get these agreements done, approved and signed so they can get to work, because this is going to be a year-long project. But in Bill Ryan's submission, which you have in your package, he does have a time frame. He has a timetable for how this will play out and with what steps have to be done when. And there is no chance we're not going to keep to this. This will be done. It will be done this year, and it will be, we'll have to deal with a certain amount of fallout because the rates will change all over town. But in terms of trying to lay a new foundation for town government, which we've been working steadily on, this is critical. And down the road, supervisors may not appreciate what we did here, but that's only because they don't know what we confronted and how important it was to make these changes. So Tina and I worked really hard on the sewer districts when we got here, and what a headache. And not just what a headache, unfair, simply unfair. There are 4 sewer districts, and they're each paying different rates, although, and they're paying different rates, and there's several methods for calculating how the taxes arrive. So everything's going to be rationalized. Everything will be made consistent. In between those 2 resolutions is the LoSAP, the annual agreement, service credits for volunteers at Bruin, Megan does this one, and again, there are no volunteers who qualify for LoSAP, but we have a contract over a period of time. We have to report on this every year. Resolution 49 authorizes GPI to resubmit a Bridge New York grant application for the Old Troy Road Bridge, which really needs to be repaired. And if we can't get funding to do it at some point, we're going to have to do this ourselves. Danny, wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, we recently got flagged last year. The steel girders underneath are basically rusting away. So either if we don't, or if we're not awarded, we're going to have to do something as far as at least repair. Yep. So I got a feeling that we're going to get it though.
Yeah, we got two of those.
They approved the other ones, and they should approve this one first.
Yeah. And GPI submitted the original application, so they're just kind of updating the application. This resolution allows them to do that. This is something that Scott Gallery, with almost 10 minutes after he became commissioner, came into my office and said, "We got to do something here." And he and Danny have kept the steady drumbeat of, "We got to fix this." So Bridge New York is 100% funding. We've got the culverts on Mannix and Warner that we're doing under that program now, and we're really hoping to get this. So it's important.
Supervisor, it's 6:40.
It's 6:40? Is that what time? Oh, it is 6:40. Okay. So we'll pause there. And it's 6:40. I call the 6:40 public hearing to order. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, you'll read the notice?
Yes. Public hearing notice for today, February 10th, 2021. The Town Board of the Town of East Greenbush, County of Rensselaer, State of New York, will hold a public hearing on the 10th day of February 2021 at 6:40 p.m. in the evening of the said day at Town Hall by virtual means to consider the entry into a new contract between the Town of East Greenbush and the Best Luther Fire Company, Incorporated, which agreement will include certain conditions as set forth in the proposed contract and the payment of the sum of $142,000 by the Town of East Greenbush to the Best Luther Fire Company, Incorporated, for such fire protection.
Okay. So you guys all know how this works. I can see that the chief is here, some other people. So it's a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak in support of this contract? Fire away.
Hey, I'm Chris Glander, firefighter and board director with the Best Luther Fire Department. And I'll keep this short to the point, but we proudly served the community last year under these difficult times. Supervisor, as you well know, during the COVID epidemic, we also took delivery of a new truck specifically designed for this district, and the lack of hydrant systems. We proudly serve the Best Luther Fire Department, all of us as members and the community that we live in, and support entering this contract with the Town of East Greenbush.
Thank you, Chris. And if I'm not mistaken, that new truck saved a house recently. It did, didn't it? Okay, who else would like to speak?
Gallons of water right there. So.
Yeah. Okay, or anyone else from Best Luther or anywhere else? Would anyone like to speak in support of this contract? Yeah, Chief.
Chief, Best Luther Program. I support the contract. Last year, Chris said was a hard year. We ran a record number of calls, 157, I believe it was, for the year. continue to provide additional services every year. We just added 3,000 gallon tanker, which helped us with a big thing on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah. Trying to do big possible grants and everything, keep money down. Just added 4 new members. We have 10 EMTs. Wow. Different training programs. Target Solutions, we just had a first in November. All our recertifications online for EMTs, so we don't have to go to the training classes. Things that are in the house. So, nice motion. I support the contract with Best Department.
Okay, thanks, Chuck. Anyone else like to speak?
I don't know if you can hear me, Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Okay, my name is Jean Schweigert, and I am part of the board. I'm Best Luther Fire Department. I'm also a fireman and an EMT. And I just wanted to express my my thoughts. And I know this has been a difficult year, 2020, and it's a year of fear and stress and depression. And it's been financially hard on a lot of people as well as the fire company. And as Chuck has already said, we have over 150 some odd emergency calls, being fire and being also EMS. And we also have 4 new fire members that came in, so we had to gear them up as well. The board worked very hard this year getting a budget that will help the Best Luther Fire Department to move on and move forward. And I'm hoping that with the board, they will take this in consideration, and even though it's been a tough year, and show support. And that's basically it. I want to thank the board for listening.
Thank you, Jean. Anyone else like to speak?
Mr. Conroy?
Conway? Call me Jack.
I'm sorry.
Call me Jack.
Jack, this is John Stigaitis. I live at 419 Old Best Road in East Greenbush. I'm in my 25th year with Best Luther, and I am on my 3rd set of gear, which we are required to change out every 10 years as it gets worn out. And I'm proud to be wearing a new set of gear and kind of christened it on Sunday. I was running the pump on our attack truck, and just as we were running out of the 500 gallons of water on that truck, our new 3,000 gallon tanker that was parked right behind me just kicked right in, and we kept the fire under control and put it out very quickly. It's a terrific group of people. We're an amazing team. We do whatever needs to be done, whenever it needs to be done, regardless of the hour or the day, or whether it's the Super Bowl or anything else. So I'd like to thank the town for its previous support and encourage continued support for Best Luther. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Anyone else? Okay, is there anyone here dumb enough to want to speak in opposition to this contract? That's my neutral voice there. No, because I have to stay neutral. These guys just do a great job. They really do. And last Sunday was a real example of that. So, okay, with that, I make a motion to close this public hearing. May I have a second?
I will second that.
Who was in first? Ellen looks confused.
Councilor Kennedy, was it?
Yes, let's say that.
Yes, it was.
Supervisor Conway?
Yes.
Councilor Tierney?
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy?
Yes.
Councilor Matters?
Yes.
Councilor Fritz?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll wait 3 minutes and then we'll start the Best Luther contract to protect the 3rd Avenue Fire Protection District. Danny, while we have 3 minutes and these guys are here, I got a call from Jim Frankowski today, and they're going to be doing at least 3, but up to 5 dry hydrants in their protection district, and the county's going to provide assistance to do it. And they want to know if, when they get to that point, can we provide some digging equipment and some guys to help them dig. So, yeah, I don't want to give the plot away, but I kind of said the same thing. I said, you know, just give us a call when you're getting ready, and we'll figure it out. So we'll get that organized. The other thing about Best Luther, for those of you who don't know, they have a great contingent of young people. Of all the companies, I think that they have done the best job in the last couple of years of replenishing their roster. And from Larry down, they cover every demographic you could possibly cover, but they have tremendous enthusiasm from the young people who've joined and who are learning under veteran firefighters. So they're in good shape to continue to be this effective for a long period of time, and that's a very good thing for us as a community. Okay. Ellen, we're almost there, right?
Yes, just about. 6:50.
Okay. The 6:50 public hearing is called to order. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and this is the same drill. Would anyone like to speak in support of this contract?
Supervisor, I'll read the notice first.
Very sorry.
That's okay.
Stepping on your toes again.
The Town Board of the Town of East Greenbush, County of Rensselaer, State of New York, will hold a public hearing on the 10th day of February 2021 at 6:50 p.m. in the evening of said day at the Town Hall by virtual means to consider the entry into a new contract between the Town Board of the Town of East Greenbush and Best Luther Fire Company Incorporated, which agreement will include certain conditions as set forth in the proposed contract and the payment of the sum of $10,198 by the Town of East Greenbush to the Best Luther Fire Company Incorporated for such fire protection.
Thank you, Ellen, and I apologize.
You're welcome, no problem.
Okay, would anyone like to speak in support of this contract? Chief?
What's Chief Best of the Fire Department, Graver Road. This is our 75th anniversary. Like Jack said, we have a great mixture of young members with the old to keep us going for years in the future. A lot of dedicated, and we don't have a low sector departments in town, so we're not getting any retirement out of it. They're not getting anything out of it. We're managed to get a great group of young guys. They're here because they want to go, just to get retirement out of it. It was mentioned about Super Bowl Sunday. When the house that burned on Super Bowl, we covered the roof for them with a tarp because first response refused to because of the Super Bowl Sunday. They were coming out of work, even though they're an emergency company. That's their job, that they respond to emergencies. We stayed and did it because nobody can come out and do it. So we're here. We try to support the community any way we can. We've been doing tons of birthday parades during the COVID-19 pandemic. We're one of the only trucks that stayed in the parade for the high school graduation for the whole parade, 4 hours one day and 3.5 hours the next day. We try to do everything to help out our community and for it.
Thanks, Chief. Anyone else like to speak? Yes, Chris, go ahead.
Lander, firefighter, board director. Jack, I would like to speak in favor of the contract as we have in the past for infinitum. I've worked with the town and enjoyed, working with the town and the other fire departments within the town and outside of town for mutual aid. we, you know, like Chuck said, we just love it. It's part of us. It's part of our blood, and we definitely support the contract with the town of East Greenbush. Thank you and the town board for your continued support.
Well, thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Yes, Jack, it's Jean again.
Yeah, go ahead, Jean.
I just wanted to say that Best Luther is a fire department that is a very close-knit family. They work together. They strive to work to help the community. And basically, I'm honored to be part of that fire department, the EMS. They work to improve the fire company and improve everything that they do for the community as well. So I wholly support this budget for the fire company and hope that so will all the board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jean. That was very well said. Anyone else? Okay, I'll be nice now. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I make a motion to close this public hearing. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Supervisor Conway?
Yes.
Counselor Tierney?
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Matters?
Yes.
Counselor Fritz?
Yes.
And just a quick comment before our friends leave us. I had a high school graduate last year, so thank you for doing that parade. Those are the types of activities that really do build the community and really meant a lot to all of the students that you visited, and also our neighbors all came out to see that. So, you know, I'm glad you brought that up because that community building should not be overlooked.
Great point.
Good comment. Yeah.
So next week we will vote on we'll take the formal vote. You guys, of course, are welcome to come back into that meeting, and there'll be public comment if you want to talk again. But just so you guys know, we're really proud of you and the work you do, the dedication and commitment, and the effectiveness, more important than anything else, of the work you do. So thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for the work you do. And I think I speak for everyone when I say that as a town government, we're very proud to partner with you and help you do the things that you do. So thank you guys. Okay. Okay. So with that, we'll go back to the agenda, resolution number 50, which is this is a Scott Gallery special. This one. Dan, do you want to explain this one?
So we're trying to purchase a sewer camera, and we actually found an area that has them on contract, kind of like Sourcewell. So we basically want to be able to use the Houston Galveston area cooperative purchasing program and piggyback off of them.
So what this resolution will do is give permission. Let me give, I said this is a Scott Gallery special. Let me give you the Dan Fiacco aspect of this. Dan, we approved the camera. Dan went shopping. And because Dan is Dan, he found exactly the camera he wants. And the only way we can get it is by participating in the Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative Purchasing Program, which we are able to do if the board decides to ask us. Dan, give the board like a minute or two on what you'll do with that camera.
So the camera that we want to purchase is a camera that all the professionals in the area use. It's the same camera that we paid a company $20,000 to come in and do our sewer lines in 2019. So after seeing them come in, I basically photographed their machinery and what they used, and we basically want to use the same exact thing that they have because it's very simple. 2 men can operate it. It can go in the back of a pickup truck. It doesn't need a large van like we have. Our camera that we have now is about 90 pounds. So it physically takes about 2 guys to lower it in the manhole. This one is nice and small. It probably weighs about 20 pounds. It's easy to operate. It comes with a laptop that's built in, and it records. It's got a Bluetooth device on it, and we're actually going to have a locator. So as it goes down a sewer line and we see a crack in the pipe, we can locate it right above that area and know where to dig and fix it.
That's amazing.
So it's
how much, Dan?
the quote that we received in the beginning was about $49,000 with everything. So,
gotcha.
And that is about that's what we budgeted. That's what we planned on. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, thanks, Ann, for explaining that. That was really fun. Does the Houston Galveston area have a Target ammunition by any chance?
Yeah, let's look into that, John.
Well, there are a few other purchase collaboratives that might be worth looking into, and if we, Mary and I did a purchasing during the pandemic webinar today with Sampo. So there's one, if we need PPE, that might be worth looking into adding and stuff like that. There are quite a few right now that are definitely something that we should consider adding in addition to this one.
Sounds good.
I'm just curious. I'm reading through the resolution. It has HGAC up at the top, and then a couple of the whereases has HGAA.
Yeah, good catch.
I wasn't sure if it was a typo.
Probably a typo. I'll check and fix it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bridget. Okay. 51 is the requesting lead agency and initiating coordinated review for the green renewables. Will next meeting, maybe even next week. Well, I'll have Adam walk us through this. Adam's off for the next 2 days. I'm not going to tell you why, because he doesn't. I don't think Danny and I are laughing. I don't think he wants you to know that he's getting married on Friday. So,
oh my God.
So I'm not going to tell you that. But
that's great. Wow.
I did tell him that we expect 20% more productivity from married men. So he better kick it into gear. And then I thought 20% more of Adam, my head will explode. So resolution 52 is still basically a placeholder. It's appointing Fred Henson to the Conservation Advisory Council. The First United Methodist Church has an eco team. And Rick and I met with them, and Fred was one of the members, and one of the things we talked about was the NRI and the work group and the formation of this Conservation Advisory Council. And Fred was somebody that I had my eye on from the beginning, and he expressed an interest, so I sicked Adam on him. He said, could I see a couple of the job description and all that? Adam sent him the NRI, the maps, every document we have, and so Fred's going to spend this weekend reviewing them. I think he reviewed them. He's still very interested. He's just checking with the ethics department at his job, and so if he gets clearance from that by Wednesday, and he's good to go, then we will move this resolution. If he needs more time, we'll table it. But I want Fred on this. Fred is a fisheries biologist. And one time I had a conversation about Hampton Lake. I learned more about that lake in 5 minutes than I did in 30 years of living right next to it. Really good person, really smart guy. And if we can get him, that'll make 4. And we need 1 more. So keep your eyes open. Maybe we'll have to put something on the website and get that 5th. Now, 53 is a complex situation, and we're scheduling a special meeting. I sent you an email on meeting on February 25th, which is the only night Teresa Baker can do this with us. But what's going on is you've all seen the presentation of the traffic mitigation features that are required by the Temple Lane expansion of Regeneron. Including adding a turn lane into the Hampton Inn, including adding 2 lanes to the Couse Roundabout, including a traffic signal at Red Mill Road and Temple Lane. And the financing of all this DOT's paying for some parts of it. Regeneron is paying for some parts of it. Regeneron can't work directly with DOT. We have to be in the middle of some of that. So there is a betterment agreement that three parties need to enter into. There's an escrow agreement that the three parties need to agree to. And I have just exhausted what I understand about this very complex issue. Adam tried to explain to me, and I think he and I both got lost in the explanation. So what Teresa wants to do, because we're going to have to approve these documents, is she wants to have a special meeting so she can walk us through the entire situation, what the projects are, how they'll be financed, what our role is, what our funding is, what our liabilities might be. So this is a special meeting on the 25th of February, which is a Thursday at 6 p.m. And then the next Resolution 5014, do you want to give a bit of an update on what these resolutions are and how we're doing?
Yeah, sure. So as everyone is well aware, every Tuesday night at 6 p.m., we have our committee meetings for the Police Reform and Reinvention Collaborative, with the due date of April 1st being when we have to submit the plan certification form. So we wanted to hold, there are other municipalities that are asking for comments in writing, but we wanted to hold our typical public hearing to get comments on the draft plan, which means that we're bumping up the work due date for our committee a little bit in order to have that. So we want to schedule a public hearing on, unfortunately, it's St. Patrick's Day for those of us who enjoy that day, although there's nowhere to go. Wednesday the 17th at 6:30, so that we could schedule a special meeting on the following Wednesday, the 24th, to adopt the plan, because the board does have the ability to make any edits, changes to the plan once public comment has been submitted, and that gives us still a few days for Supervisor Conway to sign and submit the document, so we're not doing it on the 31st.
And if you, I mean this sincerely, if you want to learn a lot about policing, every one of the meetings is on our YouTube channel, and if, seriously, you want to learn about policing, listen to the chief and assistant chief discuss policing, because it has been it's been really an enlightening experience. We have a great group of people. There's been a really good chemistry and dynamic between the people. And it's my favorite kind of situation. Tina does the work, I take the credit. That's how Tina and I work best together.
Except I'm not writing the report, apparently.
Trust me.
No, but I think that you made an important point, is we have learned a lot. We have approached this as learners to really understand, so that we make recommendations that are meaningful and impactful. So we do have to really give our chief and our assistant chief a lot of credit for the time that they're putting in, and the materials that they're preparing for us and the questions that they're answering for us, because we really have approached this, I think, in a way that allows that voice to be heard. We did the community survey. The survey response was 405 people. We did a police department survey with 28 responses. So we've had a great, there's a great voice to be heard in this activity.
And Tina, you're not off the hook. I'm doing the first draft. You're doing the second. So sharpen your pencils. Okay, the next resolution is one that Megan put forward, authorizing the implementation of a secure VPN and multi-factor authentication for the existing remote access systems. So, Meg, why don't you just talk about this bit?
So last year was our first year that we signed up with Beasley Insurance for our cyber liability. They basically monitor everything, and if we were to get attacked for ransomware or anything, they protect us and they do a lot of the work for us, and we're not really as exposed as we would be without it. So this year, they revamped their whole renewal and application process because of the number of people that are working remotely, and a lot of us have the ability to work remote on even within the town structure. Our highway garage and our wastewater treatment plant have remote access to connect to town files, so that way Danny can share files with Adam and Colleen and other things. So they found a vulnerability with our remote access. What this does is puts a VPN and a multi-factor authentication system into place, which means basically instead of just logging in and having access to network files, there'll be a couple step process in order to do it. Like, say, for example, me working remote right now, once, if this gets approved, 10 would send me the steps. I would then put the VPN client on my laptop and then would have to go through everything, so that there's 2 steps to get into the network instead of just 1. So it's a lot of times most people now even use the multi-factor authentication even to log into some of their credit card sites or their bank account, so that way it's not as easy to hack. So what this does is allows us to renew, because if we don't take these steps, they may not offer us a new plan for the next year. If we agree to do this, I submitted the application for renewal yesterday with a thing saying that there's a resolution in front of the town board to consider this, and we would have 30 days to implement and move forward.
Okay, any questions? So it's basically a COVID cost in a lot of ways, because we're doing so much remote access stuff now that we've created more of a vulnerability for ourselves.
I've kind of been asking more, especially the last couple months with why is it so easy for me to get on? Like, I use LogMeIn most of the time, which I actually have a 2-step process when I use LogMeIn. But if I go to the remote desktop, I literally click a button, enter my password, and I'm in. So it just makes it that much more secure. So it's not just anybody being able to do it. And if, say, my home network gets attacked, there's still a defense to the town network.
Okay. And the last one is approving a renewal with NYMER, who's our insurance carrier. We're waiting for the 2021-2022 renewal quote. As soon as we have that, we'll fill this in and send it out to everybody.
Yeah, everything, even the application process was delayed this year. Usually we get it late December, if not the beginning of January, and I didn't get it till the last week of January this year. I submitted everything yesterday, so hopefully I hear back. And I did try and reach out to Kathy with Rosenkirchen today to see if there was any update, if they received it and were processing it, but she was out of the office, so I just asked her to call me tomorrow morning.
Okay, so we'll go from there. That brings us to public comment. Is there anyone, Megan, is there anyone else here?
No, I think it's just us.
Okay. And if anyone is out there in cyberspace, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I had one thing real quick. I know the family whose house burnt down. It's one of my sister. Her house was on fire over the weekend. It's one of my sister's good friends. And even though there was a good amount of damage, it sounds like they can salvage most of this stuff and be able to, get back in.
Jim Frankowski used to live in that house.
Did he?
Yeah. So he was very happy that the house was saved. Good. Okay, so we'll finish with comments from the councilors. Councilor Tierney.
Yes, congratulations to the town of East Greenbush and to Adam Yagelski for the award of a CDTC grant for the Route 4 corridor study. Third time he submitted it, and we were awarded the funding to study Route 4 between Mannix Road and Route 43. So that's great news.
It's not just me that Adam can wear down. He wore them down too, but that is. Was that it, Tina? Were you done? Okay, that was good. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot. I did not have that on my list. Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I would just like to thank the Beth Luther Fire Department, all the members, for their years of service and their dedication, and congratulations on their 75th anniversary. Appreciate all the work they do and all of their years of service, and lucky to have them as part of our town and community. And I also want to thank the DPW plow truck drivers during all the recent snowstorms, keeping our roads clear. And I think we have a great community and a safe place to live. So I want to thank them, and also all the people that have been working on our recent water main breaks to get the water mains back up and operating. Again, a lot of hard work and effort on everyone's part, and can't thank them enough and recognize the people who are keeping our town a great place to live and work in. So thank you.
DPW put the state to shame yesterday.
Nate? That's what I thought. I heard like
9 and 20 was a mess. The state highways were a mess.
They were.
But you were driving on pavement in the town of East Greenwich.
Correct. So, safely.
Yes. Councilor Matters?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The only comment I wanted to make is really, with the variants that are now coming out with the COVID situation, I'm just delighted to hear that. I haven't heard of any, and I hope none of you have heard of any casualties in our town. God, we take our health for granted, and this is not the time to be doing it. And every day between now and the end of the year, hopefully when we have the herd immunity, we won't have any bad news about anybody's health in our town, obviously. And I'm gratified that everyone who has experienced this, including yourself, Mr. Supervisor, that everyone, I'm gratified to hear that, people have recovered. So I know we're all thinking about this in the back of our minds, but it's been a heck of a trying year it was a heck of a trying year last year, and I think the light is at the end of the tunnel this year. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Fritz?
I'd also like to thank our DPW for the great work they've been doing. Driving to and from work has been not necessarily pleasant, but they make it that it's passable. You can get through the roads and do what you have to do. And they really keep everything in town in great shape.
Agreed.
Along with that, it is also great to see our COVID numbers have been going down. Mm-hmm. We want to see people get better. We want to see continued progress with the vaccines. I actually just found out my parents got their vaccine today, so their first dose. So I was excited about that for them. Mm-hmm. But the sooner we can get herd immunity, the better we can move on away from COVID.
Right. Okay. I'd like to read you something that I received in the mail today from Detective Sergeant Michael Guadagnino. His first one is addressed to Officer Peter Lavin. On Thursday, February 2nd, 2020, that should probably be 2021, you responded to the Sunoco ZK store for a burglary in progress. When you arrived, you observed a broken side window, fresh footprints in the snow going around the perimeter of the building and into the woods. While tracking those footprints through the snow, you located a cash drawer, money, and cigarettes that had been taken from the Sunoco ZK. You continued to track the suspect through the woods for approximately 1.5 miles to the Best Value Inn. An investigation was then conducted, and the suspect was taken into custody, and all proceeds from the burglary were recovered. By making this arrest, you also assisted multiple other police agencies with closing out unsolved burglary cases. Your efforts show the public and other first responders the extreme dedication, care, and compassion that you have for the job and the community that you serve. Thank you for continuing to portray both yourself and this agency in only the highest of standards. I am making a recommendation to Chief Rudzinski that you receive a meritorious service commendation. That's Officer Lavin, and this one is for Officer Mark Harrington and Griffin Hotel. On Saturday, January 9th, 2021, you responded to 12 Catskill Avenue for an accidental self-inflicted gunshot wound. When you arrived, you found the victim on the floor with a gunshot wound to his upper left thigh, which had then exited through his calf. You immediately applied a tourniquet to his leg, preventing further bleeding, which assisted in saving his life. Your efforts showed the public and other first responders the extreme dedication, care, and compassion that you have for your job and the community that you serve. Thank you for continuing to portray yourself in this agency in only the highest of standards. I'm making a recommendation to Chief Rudzinski that you receive a life-saving commendation. That's also signed Detective Sergeant Michael Guadagnino. So for Officer Lavin, Officer Hotepaling, Officer Mark Harrington, these are three good cops too. I just want to say thank you and congratulations. And I also want to thank Mike Guadagnino for recognizing them and putting that in writing. The second thing I want to say is I want to thank the county. On Friday morning at 11:10, our entire DPW is being vaccinated. So they, the police department's been vaccinated. Now our DPW will get their first shots. And so credit where credit is due. I want to thank the county for reaching out and doing that. And then the last thing is the comprehensive plan update. Adam Yagelski has now submitted all of his rewrites, additional writing, notes, etc. And it is a staggering amount of material. It's a good thing we have a 3-day weekend because I'll be in the office Saturday, Sunday, and Monday doing police report and trying to figure out the best way forward with what Adam's done. I'm going to read every word of it. I would like to be able to synthesize and summarize it for the board because it's quite a task to go through the whole thing. But I do think there's enough there that we're going to have to hold another public hearing on the comprehensive plan because it will be different enough so that we'll have to do that. Maybe when, of course, only Adam. I tried to throw him out for a honeymoon, but Adam will be back on Monday, and he and I will figure out if we add a resolution to this agenda for next week to schedule a public hearing in March. On the 17th, we've got to do the police collaborative public hearing, and I don't want too much to get in the way of that. So we'll have to figure out a time to do a public hearing on the comprehensive plan, and it may just be that we're not going to be able to adopt it until May rather than April. But I want to give Adam his due. He's a very smart planner. He's done a lot of work on it. But I'm not going to ask you guys I'm not going to distribute it and ask you guys to read it until I go through the whole thing. Because if there are parts of it that you probably wouldn't add, I don't want to burden you with that. But as soon as I have it organized and synthesized, then I'll let you know what I think I found and where I think we go from there. So I don't want anyone to think that we forgot that. The other thing, just real briefly, is we'll be opening town hall. We'll be opening town hall again to appointments. We're starting to do. We have just about everyone back to work. Megan's working remotely. Adam's working remotely, and Bobby Reno is still working remotely. She's a little worried about moving around, but everybody else is back in town hall full time. We're getting a lot of traffic at the door. We have a lot of people who've learned that green drop box. You don't have to come in and yell at the town supervisor to do business at town hall. You can drop things in the mailbox. Tony Murphy looks a little lonely because the line of people who come in to talk to her isn't there. But we'll let you know as we go. We're going to open it up to appointments first. And the only way we can open it up without appointments is we'd have to have somebody at the door. And that's a problem we haven't solved yet. So that's basically all that I have. Danny, is there anything you want to say?
I was going to talk about the vaccinations, but we kind of said, I just want to say thank you, everybody. And we had 2 water breaks today.
What happened today, Dan?
We had 2 water breaks today.
Oh, yeah, yeah. 'Tis the season.
The ground's moving, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we're busy. John, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm good, Jack. Thank you. I'll echo your description of those 3 young officers. They're good boys, and it's easy to talk good about them. You know, you guys do stuff like this all the time, so it's nice to be recognized for it every once in a while.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's important for the board to hear these as well, because that's just good work. That's just good police work, and
That is great, and I almost wish we had those letters last night for our meeting. But I mean, what a great thing to take for a colleague to take the time to write a letter and acknowledge the hard work that other people do and the above and beyond. I mean, if we want to improve the culture and climate of any organization, that's where you start, is by recognizing exemplary work.
Yep. Ironically, we just talked about our award service policy, which is one of the ones we're revamping, and we just approved everything on that. So that'll be taken over soon. So it would be nice to put it to use.
Yeah, really, and hopefully you'll put it to much use. So,
Mr. Supervisor, could I make an honorable mention?
Yes.
Officer James Hollenbeck had recently graduated from the Zone 5 Police Academy. Congratulations to him, and another great addition, to our well-trained police force.
John, what was the academy like in this time?
I teach at the academy. I did not do it this year, or at least this session anyways. I've been doing it twice a year for the last 20 plus years. I was not involved in this last session, but a lot of things got modified. There was a lot of, I know that there was, exposures here and there, so they had to cancel a day here and add it on to another time. There was a lot of modifications made to get these men and women through. As Rick mentioned, this morning was the graduation ceremony for that. It was all done via, Zoom and all that. So that was kind of a weird experience. I kind of feel bad for him in that sense, because, there's something about being up on that stage and receiving that diploma in hand and having your superiors there and family members and all that. And unfortunately, like so many in the last year or two here, they've had to make sacrifices for those types of things, whether it be graduation or proms or, something like this. It's unfortunate, but, I think it'll make them better people in the long run, to truly appreciate when these things do happen,
Yeah, we can't stop turning out trained police officers. I went to to Proctor's for the graduation for Shelby Proper and Nick Liuzzi, and I've been to tons of graduations. It was one of the most exciting ones I'd been to. I always tease Jim Frankowski because he was the honored speaker that day. But I got some good pictures of him that I gave to him. But it's different. But great point. Congratulations, James, and welcome to field training.
Mm-hmm.
Because now he's going to a different school. So,
right.
Ellen, is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Megan. Meg, if you hear of that family needing anything, can you please reach out, let us know?
Yeah, my sister, I think, was kind of looking into seeing what she can do, and then I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right. With that, I make a motion to adjourn. May I have a second?
I will second that.
Supervisor Conway?
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy?
Yes.
Counselor Tierney?
Yes.
Counselor Matters?
Yes.
Counselor Fritz?
Yes.
And so thank you all. I'm sorry I didn't call on you, Dave, but thank you for being here.
We're just glad Dave didn't have the cat.
That's the only cat video I've ever enjoyed.
I like a bunch of them, but good point, Tina. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye now.